Greetings and welcome back to another episode of My Week in Horror. I am the Artie Dans. This is my channel. This is my weekly series where we take a look at 4 horror movies based on a particular theme. And tonight's theme is about found footage or POV style movies from Asia. Now, America's been doing a lot of these for a long time, and Asia has finally started to catch up. There are a lot more than 4, obviously, but in this video, we're going to have a look at 4 of them. So tonight's lineup is from 2022, and the newest movie in this list, it is Keramat 2 or Sacred 2 from Indonesia. We're going to have a look at last year's big hit from Taiwan, 2022's Incantation. Over from Japan, we're going to have a look at Norio Tsurata's POV. And we're going to finish off this episode with a movie that is kind of banned in China, The Possessed. Now, unlike awful Asian anthologies, I'm also not a big fan of found footage movies, but I think I've picked 4 good ones. So let's start off tonight with the Indonesian film. Seriously, Indonesia has had a hell of a 2022. So some of the best horror movies that have come out from last year have all come out from Indonesia, and we've covered so many of them already on this series, and tonight I get to take on another one. This is Keramat 2 or Sacred 2 from Monty Tiwa. Let's check out the synopsis first. A group of young adults, 3 boys and 3 girls, travel to a sacred location in Indonesia to record a documentary about a lost cultural dance and to create supernatural content for a YouTube channel. When they visit the house belonging to an old dancer who was the last known person to perform the lost dance, they open up a box full of her belongings, which also then unleashes an ancient grudge curse. While filming additional content for the YouTube channel, the boys visit a haunted site and summon her spirit using the Jailongkung ritual. A 4th girl, a spirit medium who is the friend of the boys who run the YouTube channel, joins them and helps one of the girls channel the lost dancer so they can record the routine. However, they're interrupted and Mora, one of their friends, is knocked unconscious. In order to rescue their friend, they need to enter the realm of the dead to satisfy the dancer's requirements and put her soul to rest. So the story's not as complex as my really bad synopsis, and I apologize for that. Sometimes it's hard to write a good synopsis about a movie, especially a movie like this when there's kind of so much going on. But it is a really good film, this one. And we have a group of people. In this case, we've got the 3 girls who are wanting to do a final, their thesis on this lost dance. And then there's this one guy, Ume, who wants to make a documentary about the 3 girls doing this dance. And then you got 2 other guys who own this YouTube channel and want to make YouTube content for it. So we've got a couple of different types of cameras. We've got the really nice film camera, and that's used many times throughout the movie to get some really beautiful shots, such as the dancers in the sunset. It looks fantastic. Then you also get like GoPro style and a couple of mobile phone style shots that kind of make up the rest of the movie. There's very little amount of cameras used, and it looks great for it. So we definitely get a sense throughout the film that they are making a documentary because they go to painstaking detail to make sure that we do know this. The director of this film directed a movie called Pocong, which was banned in Indonesia back in the very early 2000s. And ever since then, he's gone on to make quite a few movies. Not a lot, but quite a few movies. And they've always tended to be really good. I think this one's no exception. I'm not a fan of these types of movies. And this is a spiritual sequel or a sequel that's unrelated to the previous Keramat movie, but they have the same kind of hook in that they're both kind of found footage POV style movies. You can watch this second one without having watched the first one. This movie has very restrained effects. There's probably CGI in it. Well, of course there had to be CGI in it, but I don't really recall scenes of CGI sticking out too much. There's a lot of, when the ghosts are there, great scenes of the ghosts floating, but that can be done, via ropes and pulleys. So the effects are really good. It doesn't overuse this stuff, and I don't get scared watching movies anymore, but I get creeped out And by creeped out, I mean like, I'll get goosebumps on my arm or the hair will stand up. I don't consider that being scared, but I do consider that being creeped out. And this movie caused that a few times. I really did genuinely get creeped out by a few scenes, especially towards the end. And especially when one of the characters, Ute, gets possessed. But then she's one of my problem characters in this movie. She's a young girl, which is not, I'm nothing against that, but she just knows too much. She is very, very, very knowledgeable and seems to know everything about how they can resolve the problems that are going on. So essentially what happens is the girls want to film this dance so that it's not lost forever. And they do this by channeling the spirit of the woman, and she possesses one of the girls, and then that girl starts to dance while they film it. Now that dance is interrupted by another woman, which then causes a bit of a ripple effect. As I said in the synopsis, Moira gets injured, and then they have to go into kind of this dead realm where it looks like a nightmare. It's really good actually how he's done this, where they have to recover her body. And it's within the dead realm that they meet the dancer again, and she just has this final bit of knowledge that she wants to pass on to the people before she can let Moira's spirit go. It's very constrained and sticks to its style. The subplot around the documentary makes the movie more interesting than if it was just a bunch of idiotic YouTubers going off to make a viral video. So this is a Keramat 2, or Sacred 2. Using great horror or stupid trash, I would award this 3 ghosts. Now, I'm giving a lot of Indonesian movie 3 ghosts because I think they're really good. And only a handful have gone to that 4 ghost level, but this one's definitely 3 ghosts. It's a great film. Even if you're not a big fan of POV and found footage style movies, really think you should give this one a go, because I think you might be pleasantly surprised. The whole package comes together quite well, and I think they've done a great job. So that is Keramat 2. Now, on to the next film. This next film that we're going to talk about now, from Taiwan, was one of my favorites. I still think Satan's Slaves 2 is probably my favorite horror movie of last year, but this one comes damn close. And a lot of people didn't like this movie, and that really makes me sad. This is Incantation from Taiwan. Big movie on Netflix. Was kind of big theatrically, but it never really got a chance to take on the other movies because it was quickly yanked from the cinema to go onto Netflix. So firstly, let's check out what the movie's about. Lee Ronan is a mother who desperately needs help. Specifically, she needs our help. Her daughter is in danger and she doesn't know how to save her. Jump back in time 6 years and we can see that Ronan is part of a trio of YouTubing Ghostbusters. The trio travels to the family compound of her boyfriend to document a ritual, but they meddle too much and unleash a curse that claims the life of both boys and puts her unborn daughter in danger. Back in the present, Ronan takes custody of her daughter after receiving a clear mental health check, but the curse rears its ugly head again. Now, Ronan must do everything she can to stop the curse from taking the life of her daughter. What I really loved about this movie was the fact that it was not afraid to break the fourth wall and involve the audience. And a lot of people don't pick up on that little detail. What Ronan's trying to do is pass the curse on to you, the viewer. She's not trying to do anything else. She's not going to do anything special. And that's the whole point of the movie. She tricks you all the way through till the end. That's why she keeps asking the audience to say the incantation words. That's why the words keep appearing on the screen. She wants to pass that curse onto you because that's the only way the curse can pass. And that's what I really loved about this film. Now, this is a proper found footage style movie. But what's really annoying about this is that it gets its footage from anywhere that it possibly can. So we've got laptop footage, we've got GoPro footage, we've got camera footage, we've got mobile phone footage. And then on top of that, there's quite a few scenes where shots are just shoehorned in and they don't look good. And specifically the one that's coming to mind straight away is when the daughter is hiding in the back seat of her four-wheel drive. And there's just this camera behind her filming her legs and the window. There's no purpose for that. And another scene that comes to my mind is when she gets a bloody nose, Ronan gets a bloody nose, and she goes to the bathroom to clean her nose. But what she does is she moves the laptop so that the camera's facing her in the bathroom to watch her clean the nose. Like, these are just things that it's overdone found footage. We don't need to follow every tiny minute deal of detail. You don't need to follow us. We don't need to follow you doing these little things. And that kind of breaks the immersion at certain points in the film. This is a long film. It is 2 hours long, but I think it's quite good. I think it really keeps your interest throughout the whole film. And that's probably partly due to the fact that I was really getting into this movie. I also think that the woman looks a little bit like Donnie Yen. So call me crazy, but seriously, she's giving off Donnie Yen vibes. This is the second movie in a row in this video where we're talking about, YouTubers. The previous movie was about YouTubers, and luckily the next two movies aren't about YouTubers. But this one also covers, the whole YouTubing idea. And in fact, 2021-22 in Taiwan, they used that trope quite a few times with the movie like The Rope Curse too. This is very clear that they're going for a particular audience with this movie, which is a lot younger than me. So strangely, I still found this movie quite entertaining. Now, what I said is that I found that a great movie, 2 hours long, I was thoroughly hooked. But in reality, I think the first 80 odd minutes, there's a lot of the movie where you're just wondering what the hell's going on. And that, I will admit, that does happen. So a lot of people have clearly tapped out at that point, and that's fine. You don't need to watch a movie all the way through. But what I'm hoping that is that if you do watch this movie, do watch it all the way through, even if you're not enjoying the first 60 to 80 minutes, because I think it does get better. Now, using the ghost rating, which stands for great horror or stupid trash, don't be surprised, this gets a 4 ghost rating. It's 4 ghosts because I really, really enjoyed it. Really got into this movie. I really enjoyed that fourth wall breaking, and I can forgive the ridiculous, stupid added-on shots that don't make sense, even though I wish they weren't there, and I wish this movie wasn't in the found footage POV style. I can forgive it. So 4 ghosts, if you have not seen Incantation, I really, really recommend that you go see that, and probably see that over Keramat too. Now, a special message from me. Pardon the interruption, everyone. I thought I'd just take a brief moment of your time to tell you about how The Arty Dans is on all those social media sites. So firstly, you can find me on Facebook at Arty Dans. You can find me on Instagram at The Arty Dans. You can find me on Reddit as The Arty Dans. You can also find me on the web at www.theartydans.com, and you can also find me on Odyssey as, take a guess, The Arty Dans. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Thank you, me. It's always nice to hear from me and give a little bit of an update about socials. And if you haven't done it yet, go to the socials and start following me. Also, I've got a Substack, theartydance.substack.com, that you can also go and follow. All the videos end up on there, and you get better alerts. So if you're not getting alerts from YouTube, and I know most people aren't, Substack's the best way to get it. Now, on to this next movie. And it is from famed Japanese director Norio Tsurata, who directed one of the original Ring movies, Ring Zero. He also went to China to direct a very odd movie, which I'm going to cover in a future episode. But this movie is called POV, a cursed movie, or cursed film. And let's check out the synopsis first. This is a ghost movie about 2 idols who watch a cursed DVD, only to find out that it unleashes a spirit around them. One of the girls, Haruna, recognizes the location of the video as her old high school, and alongside her co-host Mirai and their manager and assistants, they head to the school with the hopes of finding out more about the spirits. Along with the help of a psychic, they hope to work out a way to satisfy the spirit and help it move on out of the human world. POV and cursed movie. Now, unlike the other 2 movies which are about YouTubers, this one's not about YouTubers, but it is about 2 idol girls who have some kind of show that they watch these scary cursed videos and give reactions to. And the videos that people send into them. And this DVD that they watch is one of them, which is about some kind of spirit who haunts a toilet block. Very Hanako style, but not exactly Hanako the spirit. And like I've said in the synopsis, one of the girls recognizes the school as her high school. There's a lot actually about this that kind of doesn't make sense, because time frames don't seem to match up with how things work out. For example, Mirai Haruna doesn't look that old, 18, 19 years old. Yet when she gets to the school, she acts like she hasn't been there for 10 or 15 years. And then only some people recognize her and other people don't. It's kind of weird, and I don't understand how that worked, essentially. It didn't seem coherent enough to me. But I did like the fact that it stuck with the two cameras throughout the whole movie. And there is only one shot that I could think of at times that felt a little shoehorned in. And I think, if I remember correctly, it's this bit where they're all hiding out in the classroom. And I just thought, how weird. Why would you be recording this when you're trying to save your life? And then I think back that, they're there to make a documentary or a video series. So it makes sense that they would record it. They just seem to be recording odd things, like every other movie in this video, except for the next one. They're recording odd things. The movie then ends with a fantastic scene. Fantastic. Let's not go overboard, Dan. The movie then ends with a great scene. Even great. The movie then ends with a good scene of the girls in a cinema where they're watching the movie back. And the movie they're watching is the movie that you've been watching. So essentially, all the way up until the point where they go to the cinema to watch the film back is the same movie that they're watching. And then there's this extra scene added over the top of it that shows that the curse just hasn't gone away. I think Norio Tsuruta, I think this guy struggles to make a hit. He makes a lot of average and above average movies, but he seriously desperately struggles to make a good movie. And I haven't heard too many good things on the internet about this film, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. Like the movie previously, Incantation, but unlike the movie Keramat, this movie has no music through it, which is good, because then you get a proper sense of a documentary or a found footage style movie. Kind of like if you can think back to the Blair Witch Project, if you can think back that far. There is no music in that. It is essentially, they've tried to string together a movie just like you would if you found a couple of tapes and you think, what's the narrative they're telling here? That's exactly what they've done here. And I like that. I like that there's no music. Is it a strong movie? It's not a strong movie, but there's some entertainment to be had here. So using my ghost rating, which stands for great horror or stupid trash, as you definitely know by now, I think I'm going to give this movie 2 ghosts, because it doesn't deserve 3 ghosts. It's not a great film or a good film. It's just an average film. And the 2 ghosts kind of lets you know, it's not a bad film, but it could have been better. And it's definitely right. It definitely could have been better. At least it's short. I'll give it that much. But of the 4 movies in this episode, this is the weakest one, but still worth checking out. So that's from Japan, POV, a cursed film. Now, on to our last one. In a previous episode of this show, I said that I always love talking about The Odd Family Zombie on Sale, because it's just one of those movies that I'll just talk about to anyone. And this is another one of those movies. This is The Possessed from China. It is not the type of movie that you would expect from China. So first, let's check out the synopsis. 2 teenagers, one a budding filmmaker and the other his cute on-screen talent, are making a documentary about fortune tellers and healers. Receiving a hot tip about a fortune teller with a flawless reputation, they follow her around until she takes on a job that requires them to travel to a remote village to perform an exorcism on a possessed woman. When they arrive at the house, they are treated like royalty, but quickly find out that their powers can't help the possessed woman. The reason is because they don't have any powers. They're just con men who've been caught on camera red-handed. So I feel that synopsis kind of gave the whole movie away, but the fact that it is a Chinese movie, that it's not going to be about possessions, it's not going to be about ghosts, it's not going to be about anything supernatural. So you have to always go into a Chinese horror movie thinking that. And thus, what I've told you there isn't really a spoiler. There is actually more that happens in this film that I could have told you that would have made it a spoiler. And I'm not going to tell you because I think you should watch it. Now, if you do want to watch it, I'm jumping a little ahead, but if you do want to watch it, the full movie is available on YouTube. And the footage that I'm using in this episode comes from that particular version. You'll notice in the top corner, there's like a watermark that says preview on it. That's how you know you're watching the correct version. So this movie has a great backstory. It was made back in or was released in 2016, and critical acclaim. A lot of the Chinese media was saying that this is the type of Chinese horror movie that they were just hoping would come back from China. They felt that this was the movie that could put them on a level playing field with a lot of international filmmakers. The movie won awards at film festivals. It got quite popular and quite well known. What happened is that when this happened, a film producer in China then offered the director a bit of money to remake the movie in much better quality. And so he went and did that. He went and he made the film, edited it, made it really completely done. And I believe it was a week or 2 weeks before the release of the film, it was pulled from the schedule by the SARFT. That's the Chinese Censorship Board for Film. They pulled the film with no reason given, although I think it's pretty obvious what the reason is. And since then, it's been lost. Now, my friend who works at China Lion told me that they had this movie 5 years ago on their books. They were ready to release the updated version of the film. And since then, they've heard nothing about it. So we can consider this a lost movie. Whether we will ever see the final version, the proper version, the new version, that remains to be seen. But what we do have is this version, the original, the movie that it's based on. And while it is low budget, while it gives off a very grungy vibe, it is done really well. The two main actors do their parts fantastically. At no stage do you feel like they're amateurs. Their banter on screen is terrific. They definitely know what they're doing in front of the camera, and the story plays out really well. The real meat of the movie happens when they reach this remote house and they come across the possessed woman. This is where the movie starts to pick up a bit, because this is where the truth starts coming out about what's going on. And so you might see it coming. They don't really telegraph too much, other than the couple's a fake. Now, we get the idea that the couple is a fake really early in the film. And like I said, Chinese movie, you know that it's not going to be real ghosts, right? So we get that idea very early on in the film that they're fakes. But the movie plays along with it. The two main characters, they know they're fakes. And that's the whole point. They want to catch them out. One camera is used throughout the whole film. And then there is a secondary camera that's used to take some sneaky shots. It's the guy who uses it when he's trying to spy on the girl, and it's also used again for a very important scene that's used to spy on the couple. The one camera means that unfortunately the guy doesn't get too much screen time. The girl gets a lot, but we get really clean shots and really great framing, and we know exactly what we're getting with this movie. I don't think I can stress enough how great this film is. And because it's on YouTube, it's really easy to find if you look for it correctly. I'll put the Chinese character in the description of this video, and all you got to do is just copy that into YouTube and look for it, and it'll come up. It's about a 2-hour long film. I guarantee you will enjoy it. It's the greatest 2 hours of Chinese horror you will watch. Yeah, it's a real surprise of a film. It is just a shame that it has a remake that is completely banned that we will never see, because if the remake is half as good as this film, it would have been terrific. It would have probably been one of the best found footage movies ever from Asia. That's a big call, I know, but I think it could have gotten there. Thus, using the great horror or stupid trash rating, it's tough to say this is a 5-star ghost movie, because I can't give it 5 ghosts. So I can give it 4. It is very, very clear 4 3/4 ghost film. Now, some of you might watch it and think, oh, there's not that much that happens in this film. It's pretty slow. Yeah, it's slow. That's the whole point. It builds up. Found footage movies are all slow. Watch any of them. They are all fucking slow. This movie's no exception. But when it gets to where it needs to go, it does it really well. And I really wish I could watch the lost version. So that is The Possessed from China. It is a 4 3/4 ghost movie and is the best movie in this video tonight. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode about found footage and POV style movies. I don't know what next week's episode is going to be about because I haven't thought about it yet, but I will let you know next week when we start the episode. Thank you for watching. I've been the Artie Dans. I would like you to like this video. I would like you to leave a comment. I would like you to give me some recommendations. And otherwise, I'll catch you next time, next week, in the next My Week in Horror video.